All right, and it looks like we are live. Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here today. I am Stephanie Morrow, founder at Transformation Living Systems, and many of you know that our marquee event, Making History in Hills, is literally around the corner. It's in just a few days, March 28th. And so just a little bit about Transformation Living Systems. It's a personal development and training company really centered around the mission of building women from the inside out. And so about 4 years ago, we started Making History in Hills, which is a Women's History Month celebration. It's a premier networking event where we honor just amazing women right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are doing incredible things in their various fields and industries. And for me, I felt like it was really important to create a platform to celebrate the innovators and influencers and creators, because there are so many negative images, in mainstream media of women, and especially of women of color. All you have to do is just turn on the television and, it can go downhill really fast. And so for me, wanting to, create a space that really kind of countered that, where we are celebrating women, we are uplifting women, we are supporting women, we are, just talking about all the incredible contributions that they're making. And so that's a little bit about Making History in Hills. And of course, like any baby, it has transformed and just kind of morphed into its own thing over the course of really a short span of 4 years. And a couple of years ago, we started accepting nominations and asking, our tribe and our followers to nominate other incredible women, that they knew that they felt would be worthy to be nominated and recognized as a history maker in Hills. And so I'm here today with Autumn Brown Yarbrough, who was nominated, and we're going to be talking about her and all of the wonderful things that she's doing here in just a little bit on PROPEL. And so that's where we are today. So I want to say this before we get into the conversation today with Autumn. There are still just a few seats. I think we've got about 4 seats available. I've got some people that have been reaching out. Oh, I'm coming. Okay, we're down to the last 4 seats. And so throughout the broadcast, you'll see the information going across the bottom of the screen, where you can find out more about tickets and grabbing a seat. StephanieMorrow.com. Go to Making History in Hills, and you can grab a seat for yourself to join us in person, where you can connect with Autumn and 5 other unstoppable women that will be honored in Dallas this Sunday, March the 28th at 4 p.m. So I'm so excited. I feel like it's a holiday, or like Christmas or something like that. Like, I'm so excited. I'm getting all these packages in and working on gift bags and awards and all this stuff. And so I am super duper excited. And so today I'm going to be talking to, as I said, Autumn Brown Yarbrough, who is the founder at New Standard, which is a beauty line that was launched in 2020. So Autumn, welcome to PROPEL. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Beautiful welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So Autumn, talk a little bit about what it means for you to be celebrated as an unstoppable woman.
Well, I have to say I was honored to be nominated, as well as to be one of the recipients. For me, I was thrilled. To be an unstoppable is a work in progress, first of all, okay? Work in progress, especially for women of color, Black women, us. I'm at the, I would say we are unstoppable from the moment we come out of our mama's wombs, because we're always told what we can't do. And we have a double-edged sword. So from birth, I think any Black woman is deserving and has this opportunity to be nominated. And everybody is making history in Hills. Uniquely with me, I have a deep passion within our community, especially with hair, and Black hair, to be very specific. Okay. Yes. African American or African hair. And I grew up in the industry. Very fortunate that I'm 3rd generation, I say, hair culturalist. My grandfather started a company called ProLine International, and my mother, Renee Cottrell Brown, was the creator of Just For Me. My grandfather, speaking of,
I had one of those. I had a Just For Me. Tell your mother I said thank you. I have one of those.
In the eyes of me, because she said when I came around, she was like, I couldn't take it anymore. And I needed something easy, sensitive, and protective. And it was wonderful. You know, it was wonderful in terms of the whole experience. My father's been in the industry as well. He still dibbles and dabbles in the industry. He still has a fascination with it. My mother had a close relationship with my father. I think that was the driving factor of Proline and everything there. But honestly, when I think ultimately of an unstoppable woman and where I really get those qualities is from my mommy. My mom is the bomb. Nothing stops her. She is relentless. She never gives up. She is the one that really amplified with the Just For Me brand, Proline. Proline is incredible. My uncle who started Proline with my grandfather, their brothers, did an incredible job. But sometimes we dismiss us women. They never did, but just society as a whole and Black women. And when I think of an unstoppable woman, when I think of even myself making those unstoppable moves, I think of my mother. So sorry for a long answer, but I wanted to kind of throw in a little history in there too.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's great. It's so appropriate because, you know, I often say, and I didn't coin the phrase, but I often say it. I've heard it said many times that people don't buy products, people buy people. And so there's always a story behind the product. And so when you tell that story about your mother and your grandfather and your uncles and just the history that's there, that's part of the story. That's part of the draw. Now, I don't even have but a teaspoon of hair, but if you had something for me, I want to have it because I'm drawn to the story, you know? So the story, you know, I think it's a great lead into, you know, just into the work in general. And it's definitely a great lead into the next question, which is, you know, telling us about your work, your brand. What is New Standard? Where did it come from? You talked a little bit about some of the inspiration, but talk to us a little bit more about your brand and your business.
Well, New Standard, I will have to admit, one of the people on our team, her name is Kay Fluella, and she helped guide me when we were in the process of really trying to hone in on what we're trying to deliver and that emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
And we both agreed together New Standard was the way to go because this is the new way of defining Black hair in the Black hair care industry and in involving and making sure we involve hairstylists, the profession, the educator. And I think there's been a little bit of a dismissive role in that. Now, I love my DIY girls, but even my DIY girls online, there's some exhaustion along with it. And so there's been this loss of where do I go? Where are the experts? And honestly, the experts have always been with the hairstylists, especially our sisters. They've been in our community. They are the backbone to our economic empowerment. We really need to sometimes pay attention. Black hair care history is Black history, is American history.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it is a huge part of understanding these rotating dollars within our community and how they're truly recycled from one place to the other.
Like that.
And so honestly, we want to bring it back in a new way and make sure this is the tone that we set in the Black hair care industry, the standard to never dismiss the hairstylist. I am their number one fan. And ironically, even though my grandfather was focused more on retail, he did start with stylists and salons. So let's not get anything confused. But he was able to create a product to bring it into the community at an affordable price. And I always say he did it his way. My mom focused on child care relaxers. She did it her way. Now I'm doing it my way. Yeah. And that is the most critical thing. I've learned and had the opportunity to see the level of success, but I am doing it differently. And with that, I am all around of she deserves it all is our focus. It is a part of our tagline because to remind my sisters, my queens, that she deserves it all. And so when we do our products, they're in the eyes and the essence of the Black woman in mind. Anybody can use our products that have those similarities, whether it's dryness, lack of moisture, you know, sometimes just wanting strength and length. even though their hair can, our hair can grow, but then the problem we have is that we have easily breakage, understanding that honestly comes in with education from a stylist, whether you even just get consultative work from a stylist.
Yeah.
Stylists have no problem giving you a consultation and you doing your own thing or giving you the tools. I think there's a misconception sometimes of what a stylist can and can't do. She can do it all because she loves you and loves your crown. And so I'm here to amplify that. I'm here to amplify to putting my products in the hands of the stylist and not in the retail. And that's where the difference comes in with me doing it my way. And so our consumer products are focused in the hands of the stylist. They're also available online. And then we try to partner you with a stylist through our directory. The other unique thing is we do professional products. This is another thing why I'm doing it my way, is that I do believe some products need to be licensed and understood by an educator and also taken care of by the educator. I'm the opposite of what's going on in the industry right now with deregulation in the professional world. That's what kind of got us in trouble with the relaxer. Got to respect the chemical. When relaxers first came out in the 70s, they were wonderful. Everybody remembers Soul Train, hair perm down our backs. So it's not an issue, but it's about respecting the chemical. I'm going to be honest. As a consumer myself, we all overuse. We all get overexcited. That's why we always have to have things in the hands of professionals.
Yeah. And I've been very, fortunate over the years to have had great hairstylists. I know you mentioned, Kate Llewellyn, who, by the way, is going to be our keynote speaker for Sunday's event, who is just a mogul in the industry. And, my good friend Ramona Garland, who's just a colorist and stylist. And so I've seen the both sides of that, right? Like, the stylists, it's almost like a continuum, and you've got stylists who are here and you've got stylists that are top notch. And so I've always been, just blessed to have top notch stylists and colorists and things like that. Even, making the transition out of chemicals and back to natural hair a couple of times over the last several years, I've always had to go, consult with the professional. I can do a little maintenance here or there, but I've always needed, and I think that's one of the, as a natural hair, as a woman with natural hair, I think sometimes that is a kind of, like you said, kind of a misconception that when you aren't wearing chemicals, that you don't need stylists anymore. That you don't
need it more.
You need it more. You need it more. People think, oh, I'm gonna go natural, and I look. My husband said, my husband told me years ago, you can do whatever you want to do with your hair, but what you can't do is Florida Evans. I just can't. We can't have it. Like you're gonna have to jazz it up. You're gonna have to spice it up. Like I didn't sign up for Florida Evans, so I've always kept that in mind on my natural journey, and have tried to, jazz it up. And when I was wearing it tapered or colored, or but I said all of that to say that. And I've had a long hair journey, but I've always had, professionals, and like you said, those educators that have been able to, coach me and support me along the way. So, Adam, talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you have faced. And so I know, as an entrepreneur, New Standard launched in the fall of 2020. And I'm sure that was a process, that you didn't just kind of wake up, even with all of the background and all of the access to, expertise in the field and industry, that you didn't just wake up and say, okay, New Standard is here. We're going to make a few phone calls, and tomorrow we're going to roll this product out. So talk a little bit about some of the challenges along the way in creating the New Standard brand, or this part of your brand, because I think for those of us who are endeavoring into entrepreneurship, sometimes it looks like it's really easy. We see the finished product, we see the launch parties, we see the, the flyers and the websites, and, we see that, and we don't understand that there's a journey to that space. And so sometimes we're easily discouraged or moved along the way if, the challenges are greater than we anticipated, or, the time for, that idea to go from, conception to manifestation is longer than we'd like to spend. So talk a little bit about some of those challenges in creating this work and doing it your way. in some of the ways that you moved through those challenges?
Well, I'm going to say the first thing, it was not a challenge starting in a pandemic. That was the easiest part.
Oh,
Tongue in
wow.
cheek, I'm being funny. Like, that was probably one of the things, man, I tell you, Stephanie, I sometimes look and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? But I'm going to say why. It's because I was tired of delaying the start.
Mhm.
That is probably the biggest challenge. And you guys listening, and I know everybody has some dream, whether it's not even starting your own business, but that promotion or that career path that you want to switch to the direction you want to go. My mother-in-law, my husband's mother, is my inspiration. She actually she finished her doctorate 3 years ago. And I think she was maybe 65, 66.
Wow.
Because it was always her dream. Where the detour happened is she had her daughter very young while she was in college. And she ended up having to focus on her family and going all in, and took her detour. And when I went to her graduation 3 years ago, I was like, it's time. I can't do this anymore. And the excitement to see that she was living and continues to live a full life, that's how I look at it. The challenge, like I said, was the start. I actually had wished that I had started this business 20 years ago, or at least had voiced to my grandfather to not sell Proline. I had a vision of wanting to be involved, not necessarily lead the company. I do believe that every individual should work their way. There is no entitlement or elitism that should ever be placed in any business. I feel that way with my children. This is not something that'll be handed to them. I would love to pass it down to us and in our community, and it would be handed to the best person that serves this business, right? So, the biggest challenge was, the regret and letting that continue and learning to get the confidence to say, I'm going to start today and I'm going to start now. And I thank my mother-in-law, I call her Mommy Polly, for the encouragement. Now, that being said, once I decided to go that direction, I had to let go of the corporate job. I had to let go of the corporate relationships and the corporate money. I had to bury that. I had to bury it deep, and it was many tears because of the sacrifices you have to make. I mean, we went, we're still currently down to one car. COVID made that part easier. But just all the sacrifices that you have to make to start a business, just doing things differently. This is where COVID did make things easier, not able to get distracted with social interactions, get more focus on the business. To that regard. But then, the emotional part of the money changing, making those changes, having only one income technically, because Derek, my husband, is involved, then also having to take care of 2 kids. And I know we were talking previously in the green room that you have 2 kids, and I admire women.
Yeah.
We do it all, because even when you have a husband that's beyond helpful, though the baby's still like, mama, 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 mama. You could have juggling, cooking on the laptop, on the phone, daddy sitting up there asking for help, and they could care less about daddy,
I say it all the time. They'll come find me and ask me, did you ask your father? No, I didn't think to. And it never
even matter. It's this mommy, 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 which is a beautiful blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Sometimes I wonder, but to say the least, the juggling is very challenging. And then the other part that is challenging is the startup. I am very familiar how to start businesses. I've started an insurance brokerage. But it's still a part of corporate America. So it was a lot smoother. But when you go into a consumer packaged good business, the good news is you get a lot of flexibility because there are no regulations to some point. But the bad news is there are no regulations. So I left a heavily regulated industry coming to something where you have the flexibility and the creativity to do a lot. But you have to pay attention to everything and make sure you're well protected. So I would tell all my entrepreneurs out there, getting a lawyer at the very beginning, just advise
Mhm.
keep your costs minimal, or even just going to LegalZoom or anything. And I don't mean to advertise, but just getting that, access to understanding what it takes, being protected, all of those things. I mean, that probably within itself is a challenge. Sales tax is a challenge. So when it just even comes to the administrative stuff, be easy on yourself, because it's a challenge for us all. And
Yeah.
then be easy if you're going into starting a product or even a service that's unique. Take your time.
Mm.
Take your time, but don't
I
take your
like,
time where you keep on talking about how you're getting ready to launch something, and where, that
yeah,
conversation, well, I'm about to, and the next thing you know, it's like 3, 4, 5 years later. So
yeah,
your about to has to be, I did it. So,
yeah,
and you can do it. And
yeah,
just understand, all of us founders help other founders. Find us. I'm online. People have reached out to me on Instagram. They find my personal Instagram. I respond. I've done the same thing. We understand the journey. Unfortunately, not every family member or friend will understand the journey. And
yeah,
you have to understand, when people are not as supportive as you would like them to be, it doesn't mean they still are not supporting you. Sometimes they don't know how, because their journey is different. So
yeah,
I would strongly suggest, when you're going through those challenges, is finding people that can relate to your journey, and typically other founders or other partners. Me partnering with stylists has been godsend. Not only do they know how I feel about them and their work, but in return, they have been very supportive. I have had hard days. I have cried. I have been frustrated. And I've cried to myself, and I think, hey, men, it's okay. Y'all cry too. Don't
right,
swear.
right,
But they have been incredible. And they believe in the mission that we are trying to push forward,
yeah,
because they know how this business is. This
yeah.
business only thrives when they thrive, and they see the mission behind it, and they see the success that's available to us all.
Yeah, you said a lot. And I'm taking notes and shaking my head because I really want to go back and unpack a couple of things that you talked about. I love that you said take your time. Don't take all the time, but take your time. I believe we're in a culture where we are easily seduced
Yeah.
by images, and you can just, it's
Ooh,
just out there. And so I believe that there is a seduction that can be associated with entrepreneurship. And
oh,
so you have to be able to, one of the first business coaches that I ever, worked with, he said, as an entrepreneur, you're solving a problem that people have. And the more people that have the problem, the greater the impact, the greater the influence, and then the income. And so, sometimes for entrepreneurs, it takes a while to figure out, especially if you're in a service-based industry like I am.
yeah,
Products to me are a little different because
they are.
there's that exchange. So there's that immediate value. So I buy, you're selling t-shirts. You say the t-shirt's $30. I give $30. You give me the shirt. I've immediately got my value, right?
Yeah,
But when you are delivering services, sometimes it's not as easy. And especially in a personal development space like the space that I tend to work in, sometimes the value is not as easily identified or as easily exchanged. And so for entrepreneurs, I would, those of you that are looking to launch into something, or maybe you're in something and it's not going as you thought. And so maybe it's time to kind of refine or narrow down that vision. I want to encourage you to be thinking about, what problem are you solving? Like, what solution are you bringing to the table, and allowing that thinking to kind of guide you and lead you on your journey. And you can't be taken away by everything that you see, especially like in a social media space or
that's
posted,
tough.
because it's tough.
It's
It's
all optics. And
all
I'm going to
optics.
be very honest, and transparent as we grow. I want people to know I'm approachable. If you see me, if I mean, I'm not here. And, there's been some people like, oh, show this, do that. I'm like, but that's not where I'm at. And the thing is, that's what actually made it hard at the beginning,
Yeah.
because the optics were, I'm going to just be straight up, were lies. from people having all these followers, even influencers. I would do these audit before committing to involve them and notice like fake followers, all of that. And look, I get it. Everybody's trying to be where they want to, you know, in the instant gratification. But if you're doing things the right way, I'm going to even say, because I came from a service side too. And yes, you're right. That is the hardest in gaining credibility and clients and everything there. But ironically, it's been hard on this side. And the reason why with Black hair care, it's hard because it's oversaturated. So now I have to speak louder than anybody else. And unfortunately, my legacy in terms of, you know, being third generation, excited to be a part of something that was started by a Black man is really dismissed. I mean, it's just, and it's cool. It's cool because it's like at the end of the day, does the product work? So that's where the irony comes in. And I'm with you because that's been part of my frustration. And I want to be very clear. My hair is chemically treated. This is one of our testing products. So my hair texture is been manipulated where I have an easier and better hair care journey, which is one of our focuses. But I wanted to insert that in and let people know, though, back to the whole process of like this instant gratification and, you know, you need a showboat. No, that's not the real deal. Okay. Straight up is not, like I said, it takes sacrifices, y'all. Like if you're going to do it right, if you're going to have longevity. I mean, if my grandfather was here today, he would say the same thing. He'd be laughing hard. Anybody that's an overnight success will be an overnight end. Like easy come, easy go. If all of a sudden money's coming that easy, you need to just save it because something's not right. I mean, it's just the rule of business. So, I mean, you're right, Stephanie. I mean, you got to take your time and then also don't get caught up in social media. I had to actually focus on just what we had going on. That's what I had to learn. And that was one of my New Year's resolution is like focusing less, you know, and doing more. And I was constantly just, because I am competitive, looking at what the other, you know, Black hair care brands that we're doing, even ones that are successful, but putting way too much pressure because I was like, look, my whole business model is done. So
and the same thing that same coach told me, this was several years ago. He said, use competition as a growth mechanism. Like you were talking about your competitors, like use it as as a basis for growth, not for comparison or to, you know, to devalue who you are, what you do, or, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not moving fast enough, but, you know, and not for content, but for context. Like use what you see happening around you for inspiration and as an opportunity to grow. And so I think that's so important. And so, you know, you can just go on to anything, YouTube, and you're watching a video and you see all these entrepreneurs on the beach with the laptops and, you know, they left their 7-figure jobs and now they're making 8 figures and, you know, just sitting on the beach. And, you know, so people, you know, unfortunately, you know, people that can't think for themselves buy into the optics, as you said. And so I said all of that to say, don't be fooled by the optics. Do not be fooled by the optics. You know, be very clear about who you are and what you don't do, because, you know, one of the lessons that I've learned is clarifying what you do. Part of that is knowing what you don't do. So there are some things that I did for a while that I realized weren't a good fit, and I didn't do them anymore. And it was powerful knowing, hey, that's a no for me. You know, sometimes when you're trying to find that sweet spot or find what really resonates with you, you're doing a little bit of everything. You know, you're not on the roller skates and whatever. You know, I've had people reach out to me about branding. I'm like, I don't do branding. I don't do my branding. Like, I don't, you know,
I did a good job though. Look at this.
I could have taken their money and started calling myself a brand strategist, but that's not me. That's not what I do. Like, that's not my sweet spot. And so sometimes you have to, you know, really figure out where, you know, in a space where you fit. And the other part of that, Autumn, is you don't have to stay how you start. Because sometimes we will start.
Amen to that one. Woo, girl.
Like,
sorry, I'm
we don't have to stay how we start. like we have permission and we should be evolving and transforming and, showing up differently, whether we're in the product, a service-based business or a product business.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people are so tethered to an initial vision and they can't even allow that vision to grow because they, had an idea that it was going to be this way in this building and, open from 9 to 5 on this day. And it just doesn't happen like that. And I think the pandemic has really, helped in, it has been a light in so many ways. And so being able to do things differently. So create, out of the box, innovate out of the box, just give yourself the time and permission. I love what you said about not being so hard on yourself, because we are so hard on ourselves.
Yep.
And Autumn, when we do that, we're hard on other people. And I think it's one of the reasons why people are so critical, these days, of everything and anything and everyone. And, we're hard on ourselves or hard on everybody else. So just give yourself some grace and space. Hey, it's okay. You'll get there, right?
I do like what you said regarding, and I want to point this out in his excellent book you may have read, The Lean Startup. And he, just like you said, I mean, one of the critical factors of being an entrepreneur and arriving straight up is that you need to know when it's okay to pivot and when you need to persevere. So just like you said, you got to know when to pivot. And so if something keeps working and not working, you got to let go of that goal that you had down. That means there's some pivoting that needs to take place, especially when you're getting feedback. And baby, we've gotten some feedback and we pivot right away, because when I say she deserves it all, I'm listening to my queens and they're going to help guide me the best way possible. And I listen to my stylists and they tell me, and as much as I had this vision and this thought, and it's like, no. Now, when it comes to persevere, there are some things that I do know from corporate America. There's some things that I'm familiar on operations, some things I'm familiar with, processes and technology, where I can't get into losing or getting distracted. And it happens sometimes, like with social media, or Autumn, you need to do this, you need to do that. And then I start saying, I need to do it. But then I know what works and how to lead that path. I understand the changes in technology, or I understand the changes in operation or distributions or anything like that. And I kind of have to say, okay, I got the skill set, got the experience, got to stay focused, Autumn, stay focused. So it's funny how when you need to persevere, you lose focus. And when you need to pivot, you don't want to change. So I would say, where you feeling like you don't need to change, go ahead and change.
That's probably
and when you feel like you're losing focus, get back on focus.
Yeah, that's good. That's some good advice, y'all. I love it. I love it. It is so crazy because I'm feeling that even in my own space. Like I'm feeling that there is a pivot, that there's a shift, and even maybe how I serve and maybe who I serve and what that service looks like is probably shifting or changing. I think you feel it, this is part to me of your own, whatever your spiritual practice might be, or just being in alignment with, whatever it is or whoever it is that you believe in terms of being just kind of divinely nudged and guided and directed, and acknowledging that. I forgot who it was. I think it's Florence Shen that says the most costly thing that you can violate is a hunch. Like, never violate a hunch. And so if you get you've got feel a hunch or an idea or this, inclination that things are moving or shifting, go with it, because the wave will always win. The wave of change will always win. And
Flow, you got to be flexible. Flow. The people that can flow and be flexible, those are the ones that arrive. So, and don't, please, for those that have made success within 5 years, you're still on the wave. It's going to change. Just like you said, this pandemic, it is amazing for those that are survived. The stories I hear from my stylists, how they were making relaxer kits and giving 15-minute consultations and instructions. And I mean, I was loving it, because that is, and yes, they're on our team. Those are those that they survived. They didn't miss a beat. Was it harder? Yes. But were they down for the change? Always.
Yeah. And I think so much of what has come out of this pandemic, even once things taper, and when I say things taper, I don't think things will ever, think life will just ever go back to the way it was fully. But once we get out of a space where there's this constant talk about the pandemic in the news and once we just kind of quit talking about it, not that it will disappear, but
Yeah,
that is just not the conversation topic, at every place that you go. I do think a lot that has come out of it will remain. For example, virtual school. Like I know kids need to be face to face, but there are some kids, maybe not a whole lot, but there are some that are absolutely thriving in a virtual space. And so I believe that in time, maybe not immediately, but in time, that a hybrid model like that will become the norm. And so, like you were talking about stylists being more of, in a consultative role, that's highly possible. That's highly probable moving forward. And so everything that has come hasn't been bad. It hasn't been to harm us.
exactly.
And so it's all about perspective. So as we shift and still talking about perspective, I know you've learned a lot, even though you brought a lot to the experience, to the startup. I'm sure you've learned a lot in the process. So, as you have evolved, just talk a little bit about what you know now that maybe you didn't know 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or just growing as a woman, growing as a person, because I often say that you cannot occupy a space professionally that you don't occupy personally. And so all of our endeavors, all of our entrepreneurial endeavors, professional endeavors, to me, those things are outward manifestations of who it is that we are personally. So what are some things that you've learned along the way that you didn't know starting out?
Um, I would definitely say going to like the personal part of this business, and what I had failed when I was involved in my last career is understanding and value partnerships and team building and growing a enterprise with a group and not wanting it all to yourself. I love the boss chick. I love everything they have going on. I do. But for me, when I had that opportunity, it did not suit well. I learned the pains. Yes, you go through the pain alone, but you also get to enjoy all the success to yourself. And I don't want it. I rather have people on the team building this business, the community involved, everybody gets a piece of the pie. If we can make the pie as large as possible, what people don't realize when you partner, your slice of the pie will always be bigger than you just doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
And what it does is it also provides stability and balance with your emotional day to day. You're gonna have outside folks, external factors that make it harder. And when you have a team, it's like a family, right? Nobody wants to be a sole survivor of a family. You have no one. That's how I feel about a business for me. And I couldn't do it without the people I have on our team. I love them to pieces. It's a total of 9 of us, and including my mom. Now I dragged her in, okay, y'all. So I dragged her in, and she said, "I'm only doing this for you." My mom has a love for cooking. I said, like, she left all the black hair care love in the womb for me. So like, so she did what she did because she loved her father and loved the job she was doing for her dad. But I'm very blessed to have my mother involved to help coach me along, marketing genius all the way, and always getting her approval. She's also worked with Kay with things, and I know Kay has definitely put her stamp on my mom and what my mom has done even for her personal branding. And that's the other thing I love what doing here, sharing the wealth. My goal is every stylist that's involved, they can spin off whether they want to have their own product line, whatever they want to do, want to be amplified as a celebrity stylist. That's what I want. I am more of a behind the scenes person, so I would be definitely more unique than what you see of other founders of Black hair care businesses. I am more about being in the mix with my stylists. I'm telling you, y'all know though, the people that have stylists, they're like hair therapists, like they're therapists. Like
I'm telling you,
they know how to just, when you're having a day-to-day issue, they cut right through it. They keep it real. but they say it in a way of love. And then it's, you know, I mean, I am partial to my sisters because they understand. And they've always have loved on me and I love on them. So I know it's just like the world of stylists for me, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's great. You know, you talked a little bit about paying it forward and, you know, setting it up for others to come. And I think that is so important, you know, wherever we find ourselves, that we still make that a priority, because we are in such a fast-paced, self-centered world, you know, and so it's all about what you know, brand visibility for me and what can I get, and, you know, how much money can I make, and, you know, so it's very easy to be just absorbed, really self-absorbed. And I've just always believed that the quickest way, you know, to the top is in collaboration and cooperation with other like-minded people. And so you can go further, faster together, you know. And I've seen that happen in, you know, just time and time again, you know, in my own work, in other things that I've been a part of, that I've, you know, been the person partnering and cooperating and collaborating, and you can go further faster. And so I think that we have to be able to think about that sometimes, because there is a scarcity mindset that can exist sometimes in the African American entrepreneurial community. And so you know, reach out to people for, you know, whatever, not even necessarily advice, but, you know, people, you know, may say, well, you know, I'm looking for someone to do this, or can you recommend? Some people won't even share with you their contacts, you know, for
Oh yeah.
approval. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And to
Oh
me,
yeah.
I've never understood that thinking, because
Well,
I'm like you.
you know what I noticed? I just want to say I had that as an initial issue because people have been burned by our own.
Mhm.
And what we have to understand is you got to be very perceptive as well as not take it personal. And sometimes you have to court people. You can ask all the stylists that I'm involved with. I courted them. I mean, we courted. And I think sometimes we think we know someone that knows someone, and it's like, boom, can you help me out? I've told you my story. And so, you know, you got to court because you know how we are. And we've always been taken
I
advantage
know it.
by our
I
own
know it.
because we get super excited. It sounds too good to be true. And usually it is. And then we
Yes.
dive right in and then we're like, oh my
Oh
God.
wow.
And then you're like, I'm never going to involve myself with anybody. And
Yeah.
that's not what you want to do. And I've realized I've came across that. And actually, that was a part of my challenges. And I just learned to say, you know what, this is like dating with everybody. And with our
Yes.
own people, just date them. Like in a business way, date them. Doesn't have
Yeah.
to happen right away. Develop relationships that way.
Yes.
We rush to in just thinking we're the same color that, oh, you need to do business with me, or even coming from the same industry, whatever, went to the same high school. No.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to court people, allow them to develop trust. Nobody owes you
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
You
And
know?
you can serve, you know, and you can serve and share expertise, I think, without always selling. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
there's a way, and there's a way and an opportunity for you to provide value. Now, I'm not saying that you know, give all the goods away, but there's a way to, like you were talking about, building that courtship, you know, that happens over time. It, you know, should be very natural and very organic. But yeah, I'm like you have to spend the time kind of cultivating that. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think it's easier for people to kind of see, you know, maybe see the value, or say, hey, I don't even, you know about this, but there's something about Autumn. I love her, you know, authenticity, or I love what she's doing, or I love her story. And so I'm gonna, you know, buy this product. I'm gonna buy this service. I've certainly done it. You know, I enjoy, you know, some people enjoy baking, cooking, grilling. I enjoy mixing. I'm a kind of a self-proclaimed mixologist, and
Hey,
so
when am I
my
coming over? Yeah, I'm ready.
doing it very soon. And so my sister, my friend, I can't remember. Someone sent me a link the other day about these something for cocktails, and these infusions and yada yada yada. So I went on and saw the story, and oh, there's this mom of four who loves mixing cocktails and didn't want all the sugar and the mixes and the blah blah blah. And I loved it, and I went on about product. Never met her, hadn't courted her, but I was just drawn with it. I was like, oh my god, this is so great. I love it. You know, so give it a chance. You know what I mean? Give it a
Amen.
chance, and don't always be so so thirsty to sell. And I get it that,
Yes.
business is about making money, but don't be so thirsty. No one wants to be constantly pitched and sold to.
What?
They don't.
No.
They
And what
don't.
people don't realize, people love to buy. They just don't want, just like you said, they don't want to be pitched or sold to, but they do love to buy.
Love to buy. And I bought a lot of stuff. Look, while we were here, out of the package, I think this is a package on my porch now.
I love buying. So, but you're right.
I
don't want to be sold to, but I like listening, and I like
Absolutely.
listening to a story. I do like listening, even what you do, and just everything that we could even use in our business to use your training services as we build. I mean, I think it's just very important, to just speak from the heart. And I think you would be surprised. People will see the passion that you have, and people will help you without sometimes, like you said, courting. And then it's okay if somebody you have to court or you want to court. I shouldn't say have to, you should always want to. And it turns into a have to because your desire and determination.
Yes.
But, and just because it's no today doesn't mean it's no tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Yes. No now does not mean no forever.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, I love that. So, Autumn, talk about what's next for New Standard as we wrap up our time here today. What can listeners expect is coming down the pipe for Autumn for the New Standard?
We have launched our Go series, and I call the Go series because our product is made for a Black woman in mind, but also a busy woman in mind, because she's always on the go. She does not have time to think. I mean, right now she's overwhelmed with going into the store and there's all these products, and it's like, what's the difference between a pudding, a souffle, a gel? Is this like a salad mix, or what am I doing? Is it dessert?
I got it all.
And it's cute. I love all the terms, but I felt lost just like everybody else, and I get straight to the point. Very familiar with the industry. Technically, you can have one product that can do it all. Right now, we are offering our vitamins. To me, it's one of the most important things of understanding healthy hair comes from being healthy within and having a healthy scalp, ladies. Healthy scalp is what gives happy hair. And our vitamins have over 25 unique ingredients, botanicals, minerals, and herbs. There is no fish, they're gluten-free, all the little things that people worry about, we do not have. They're probably one of the best things to start off with, but honestly, you have everything there to get started, so you can not have to do all the excessive oil treatments and everything, because it will push more oil out of your scalp, which is called sebum. So, I mean, our products are designed, we believe in science, we believe in health, and we believe in maintaining your gorgeous hair. And we do focus again on Black hair type, and I will never put a chart type because it's all the same in my eyes. They may have different bends and textures, and some people's glands produce more oil or less, but typically Black texture hair doesn't have what's called the medulla, just simply cortex and cuticle. I know I'm getting technical with you guys, but we really focus on formulating those products to meet those needs. And then again, we have 2 new products we launched. It's a daily hair refresher, which is a finisher for those that wear their hair natural or have a treatment like I do, a smoothing treatment where you want more of a natural look, but you need to just spray and go to refresh it the next day. And then we have a wonderful daily hair serum, touch and go daily hair serum for those that like their hair silked out, relaxed, pressed, however, but it's more of a straight look. Just again, a finisher that we have focused on those products where you can put them in your purse, easy to pack in your luggage, and you're on the go. You don't have to think hard when it comes to the next day. But then that is what we have out. And then what's coming out is our Hydra Silk. So if you go to newstandardhair.com/Hydra Silk, it's one of the best things, and that's Hydra, Hydra Silk, SILK, and hydration and silk is our focus, and that is a part of the professional line. That's what I got. So I love it. Our stylists are fans of it, and it can be used for color treatments, relaxer treatments, and natural treatments. So it is all around to make our hair stronger. And there are certain things that our hair sometimes needs more of, so it's stronger and we can enjoy the length and strength that we deserve. So that's basically what we have going on. Plan on trying to do a launch for stylists in June to release more of the HydroSilk line. Other than that, it's just always an ongoing process. I love everything you're doing, Stephanie. It is beyond an honor to be a part of this. I am thrilled, and I want to be in any support I can from here on out. So for the next year, I want to support the next round of ladies that make it to Making History in Heels. Congratulations to you and your business and your success as well.
Thank you. I'm so excited. You know, I have an appointment to get my hair colored in the morning with one of your stylists. So
yes.
I'm going to be getting me some vitamins in the morning, honey, for length and strength. I'm so excited. So excited. So thank you so much, Autumn, for being here today. I'm so glad to, you know, just have the opportunity. That's one of the great things about this network, and it was part of the vision, is just connecting like minds, you know, people whose paths would probably have never crossed before.
Absolutely.
And so it's just been great for that. And so I'm so just honored to have you, you know, as an unstoppable woman. That will be honored on Sunday. I have such a fun time planned and can't wait to see you there with your heels on. I've got to find heels because I haven't had heels on in probably about 1.5 years.
I think everybody's right there with you.
We'll see how this goes.
And when you got them, we got to make sure we walk, and everybody will have them off.
I'm telling you, I don't know how long I'll have them on. I'll definitely start the day with them on, but they'll probably be off.
And just a little special treat for those that do buy tickets. We have a special gift pack for all of those that are attending. So make sure tickets.
Yes. We've got 4 seats. So once again, go to stephaniemara.com. We'd love to have you in the room with us this year, making history in heels. Autumn, again, congratulations. I can't wait to see you. And guys, I'll be back in just a few hours to speak with another unstoppable woman. I'll be back, I believe, at 4:30 this afternoon here on PROPEL with Dr. Monique Thompson, who's being honored this year. And so we'll be talking with her about her work and all the great things that she is doing in her community. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for being with us, Autumn. And we'll see you guys next time on the other side.